Hey, Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela today. Are you aura-lingual? Kind of like being bilingual, except chances are you can speak more than one aura language. Why? Perhaps your parents were a different aura color than you, or a partner. Chances are you do speak and are fluent in another aura color. And we're going to talk about that. But first, hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. Well, I think all of us in this household, including the cats, are aura-lingual. The cats know how to speak indigo.
They do.
Including our children. They're definitely aura-lingual.
Yeah.
I'm aura-lingual. You're aura-lingual. Let's go through some examples, though. Okay,
Yeah.
so the kids. Let's take the kids. They could definitely speak indigo and purple.
So I'm indigo purple.
Right.
You're red blue. Our oldest is red purple. And she's gotten real good at understanding how to speak to me.
Yeah.
I know, being purple indigo. So, for example, I notice with the kids, I'll say something, because I get purple, so I get flustered.
Right.
You know, I have all the ideas at once. And sometimes I don't know which direction to go in. I get kind of like stuck. I glitch, as my oldest says it. Like, Mom, you're glitching. I'm like, I am.
Right.
You know, and then they know, like, don't ask me something, just text it to me or send me a link, you know, or just get me later or split it up, make it easy for me, you know, like, and so they know how to talk to me when I kind of like hit my wall and I'm like, whoa, everything's happening all at once and I don't know how to function. They're good at speaking purple. They're like, okay, got it.
And they know, as I know, that there's going to be a Meggie steak, we call them.
Meggie steaks.
A Meggie steak.
Purple mistakes,
There's always-
really.
right.
I blame it on my purple.
Which is really a purple mistake.
Yeah.
And we know that's coming. So we
Yeah.
try to speak the language so that doesn't happen.
Or,
Sometimes we avoid it.
yeah.
Sometimes we don't.
But, you know, I've learned to love my purple mistakes.
Right.
And the kids, I hope I'm role modeling to them. If you make a little mistake, it's really not the end of things. You know, and I'm role modeling, you just kind of, oh, yep, take my direction, take my hit, gotcha, move forward. I feel like understanding that you're aura-lingual and telling your kids that they are too will help them differentiate that basically like your personality isn't theirs. You know, like they have their own thing, but they're good at talking to other types of people.
Right.
But I noticed with Bree, she's very good at speaking red.
Yeah. Well, she is a red.
She is.
And she definitely speaks red. And she knows the nuances of red, I think, right? How she definitely knows how to work it with me now.
Reds have a hard time with perspective.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like your way makes the most sense. Even if your way happens to be the same way as someone else's, you might not be able to hear that.
Yeah.
You just want to hear your own way and then have everybody go with that. But she has learned that since you pay the bills and stuff, it's important for her to know your way too.
Yeah.
And chances are it is the same thing.
Yeah. It always starts with like, Daddy. And she'll come at me two ways. There's two ways she comes at me.
Yeah.
The one way she'll come at me is like kind of competition way.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Dad, you want to make a bet?
Want to make a bet is a great way to start a conversation with any red aura.
Yes. I used to do that too as a kid.
Want to make a bet?
Yeah, I used to do that to my parents as well as a kid.
I don't think it worked with them.
Yeah, it didn't. I never really won anything. But yeah, she comes at me that way, or she'll do it like a competition,
Right.
or something like that. She'll
Okay.
do that. But then she also, I think, knows how to play the speak the blue side.
Yes.
When she'll be like, Daddy, all my friends love when you take us here, or something. You know,
Yeah.
drive us to the mall.
Right.
You know,
They just love you. They think you're so funny,
yeah,
Daddy.
they love all get the car and you
let
the
us play
car
our
ride, play our
music.
music, and then you turn up the Taylor Swift.
Right.
Yeah, so she plays me that way too, right?
And you're like, oh, people like me. Okay.
so
yeah.
what does she do with there? She's like kind of playing on my would you say like need to be the hero or something?
Yeah, like your need to be liked.
Yeah.
Also, the red aura need to be the BMOC.
BMOC, right?
The big man on
BMOC,
campus,
yeah,
a little. Yeah, she knows how to. I mean, aura-lingualism isn't making up all these words. Isn't just for manipulating
Right,
people,
right.
but I would say
for understanding them
but for reds, it might be
a little
for
bit,
that.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, like I noticed with both the kids, they know how to speak my indigo too.
Yes, yes.
They, know, hey, if you really want to spend quality time with Mom, let's pick a show. Like Abby will come in and be like, are we watching Traders? Like she'll watch Traders with me
Right.
or whatever my show is of the moment. Abby will just like cuddle in, get into it with me and we'll just talk about that. Or my cats, my love for the cats. And the kids have given They also have love for cats, but Bree will communicate with me by sending me cat videos. And then I get the mommy. I get that too.
Yeah. Hey, I'm loving it. I'm loving this Indigo thing on them because, it's a Friday night, let's say. Our kid's in high school and she wants popcorn and a TV or movie show with us.
Yeah.
I'm loving that.
Yeah, we do. We have movie nights.
And movie night.
Right.
Cuddling up and, eating popcorn or whatever.
Yeah.
Charcuterie board.
Oh, yeah. Charcuterie.
So that's totally Indigo.
Charcuterie?
Yeah, charcuterie.
I don't know how to say it.
Neither do I.
I say charcuterie, and that is not right. That's all I know.
Yeah, so someone right now, some yellow is screaming.
They're just like, or green. They're like,
But so I'm loving that Indigo part of them.
Yeah.
That's what, especially, her being a high school student. So
I know.
I'm loving that. I don't want to jinx that. But all right, well, now let's take Abby. Abby's purple turquoise.
Yes.
And I feel like Bree's red purple. I got that one.
Yeah.
That's an easy one. That's an easy combo.
Read her like a book.
Read her like a book. Okay. Abby. So she's the purple turquoise. And I've been really trying to, brush up on my aura-lingual skills for turquoise.
Yeah.
And I think I'm doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I'm fluent in Lord of the Rings right now.
Yes.
Okay. I know every character. I'm reading The Hobbit.
Yeah.
The Hobbit. And we talk about it. Me and Abby just loves the Lord of the Rings.
Right.
This is just like, she absolutely loves it. It used to be Avatar. We used to watch Avatar together.
Yeah.
And now it's Lord of the Rings.
Right.
So I'm reading The Hobbit. I get it. We talk about The Hobbit. We talk about the differences between the book and the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But with Abby, I got to tell a funny story about her.
Okay.
She actually kind of turns it on me. She gives me what's called the lecture. And I think we were thinking this is a turquoise thing, right?
So we just did a workshop, and a lovely green turquoise gentleman said, we should talk about turquoise rants. Right. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes, he did.
His name's Stefan.
Stefan.
I thought it was Stefan.
Oh, is it Stefan?
Yeah.
Oh.
And, well, maybe you're right.
I don't know. Maybe you're right.
He's from Canada.
I was calling him Steven. So what of it?
He's our green turquoise MMSF member. And he was like, let's talk about the turquoise rant. And I'm like, oh, we've been calling them the lectures.
Right.
And now I feel like what happened is you, Scott, are aura-lingual in turquoise. Because you understand the lecture.
Yeah, I get the lecture.
Yeah.
And then what do you think happens? My red blue tries to
fix it.
So let me give you this example. Okay. So weekend, right? It's a weekend. Saturday morning. I wake up. Usually I'm the first one to wake. Well, you're always up, but I'm usually the first one to officially wake up.
Yeah.
So I go, you do what you do when you wake up. You have to go to the bathroom.
Right.
I tend to make a lot of noises when I wake up.
You do.
A lot of stomping or, whatever.
You groan.
Groaning and moaning, whatever. Okay. So, fine, whatever. So, one day Abby comes in. She says, Dad, I'm very mad at you. She was like real mad at me.
Yeah.
And here comes the lecture. And she says, it's the weekend. It's my weekend. I don't want you waking me up. You wake me up every morning with your noises, going to the bathroom, your breathing, everything. She went through everything. So I'm like, fine. And I actually worked on everything.
Yes.
Believe it or not, I don't even flush the toilet now.
It's true.
I leave it till she wakes up.
Ew.
So I was working on everything, my breathing, my noises,
so gross.
Getting out of bed, not putting my feet too hard on the floor. And I was doing fantastic.
Yes.
I was like real proud of myself. Red, I've done it.
Yeah.
And then last weekend, she goes, Dad, another Saturday morning, she comes in and she's really mad at me. She's like real mad. I think she was even crying to you about it.
She was crying.
Yeah. And I go, Abby, what? What did I do? She's like, sit down. And here comes the turquoise lecture.
Yeah.
And she goes, Dad, you didn't wake me up. I'm like, what do you mean? You told me to do all these things.
Right.
Not to wake you up.
Right.
And she goes, well, that is if it was before 8:40.
We never heard that before that part.
I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? Yeah, yes, you do all those things if it's before 8:40 a.m. 8:40 a.m. If it's after 8:40 a.m., I wake her up. I'm supposed to wake her up.
You have to wake her up. Otherwise she misses out on family bonding, she called it.
Yeah. So I had to explain to her, like, Abby, I was so good at following your requests that you weren't waking up anymore. But now if I don't wake you up.
Yeah, you kind of listen to her, Right.
I just listened to her. And
you speak turquoise.
I speak turquoise. So now I have to keep an eye on the clock in the morning, make sure it goes to If it's after 8:40, I got to go like start making noises and breathing and flushing toilets and wake her up.
See, you're speaking. I mean, that could be called many things, but
Right.
we'll just call it turquoise aura-lingualism.
Okay. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, you're going to talk about being oral.
Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
Busy night tonight with the kids. I don't have time to cook.
Let's pull out some factors.
Factor. It's the go-to. Factor is chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well so easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. So Factor arrives fresh, okay? Fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. You can choose from preferences like Calorie Smart or Protein Plus or Keto. I've tried a bunch of their meals. Honestly, they're all really good. They're really filling. My favorite, I have to say, is the black pepper and sage pork chop. It was so tender. It tasted great. Was seasoned so well. So eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Are you aura-lingual? Why am I doing this episode? I'll tell you why. Because I do all these readings and I'll do workshops and I'll aura explain people or I'll talk about celebrities. And sometimes I use words like, oh, but you wear this color, or, you're wearing an inauthentic color, or I notice there's kind of like a little side of red on you, or you're wearing a green hat. I'll say things like that. And it was really hard for people to understand what I was talking about. Like, to me, I'm like, yeah, that's just, you're wearing green. Is that me? No. Is it inauthentic? Not really. Yeah. And then people get confused. And I found a way to explain it recently. And I started saying, well, it's like aura-lingual, kind of like bilingual, but with aura colors. You can speak other languages in aura color, meaning you can feel other people's energy. You can interact with that. You can speak different aura colors, if that makes sense. Let us continue. What is this? All right. You are coming into this world with your aura colors. Now, aura colors are your energy signature. They're the way that you navigate your life purpose here. They are the energy in which you habitate within yourself, and it allows you to understand your best motivations, how you like to do things, what drives you, how you communicate. All of that is kind of energetically prescribed to you when you come here. That's how I see it. And what happens is, though, you're usually plopped into some family where their energy colors are different than yours. So instead of kind of learning your own, or on top of learning your own energy language, your aura vibe, you are completely understanding other people's as well, that you're bonded to and for survival and love, and it's a family system and all that. So here's the deal. If your parental caregiver figures, or siblings even, aren't the same aura colors as you, you're going to learn those energy colors just as good as you're going to know your own. Sometimes better. Sometimes you're going to be able to speak the energy language of those who have raised you or you lived with better than your own, depending on, the dynamics of the household. And when that happens, you become aura-lingual. Basically, you can communicate really effectively with certain aura colors that you were raised in. And that's it. It's kind of like a language. Not just that, though. It can also happen with marriages. As you know, some people get bilingual later in life. All right. So let's say you marry somebody who's a different aura color than you. You can start speaking their language too, their aura language. I see it all the time. I'll read a couple, and I tell you guys too, like, sometimes if you're wearing each other's colors, it's just a sign of a nice thing you do for your partner. You speak their language, they speak your language. You're already doing it, especially if you're in a relationship like that. You already filter through. All right. I mean, it's everything you do. Like, I'm making plans this weekend to go out with this couple. All right. Well, what's my partner going to want to do? Oh, he doesn't like that. He's going to want this. Well, he's going to like it. It just means you're thinking like them too, and they're doing it for you. So you can speak in other or a language in a marriage or a partnership, also work relationships. Let's say you're really close with your coworkers or your boss, or the whole place is a certain kind of aura color vibe that is not you, but you can speak it. That's why I see a lot of indigos working in labs with the greens. I see indigos working with green auras all the time because usually indigos can speak green really well. It's just how these things work. Sometimes also just your culture, which I could go all day. Usually, culture can be something that you wear. Different geographic regions tend to have kind of a aura vibe if you really had to nail it down. For example, in New York City, even if you're not red, you're wearing red. Like if you're doing okay there and getting by, you're probably wearing a little red when you go out and navigate the place. I just see that all the time. Even if you're not red, even if you're the furthest thing from red, when you go out, you're wearing red a little bit. Or in the Midwest, I see a lot of people kind of wearing yellow. Because that region kind of goes that way with the mannerisms and how things are done. They kind of follow a yellow vibe. So you can speak different energy languages, even if it's not your primary energy yourself. Aura-lingual. Who does this happen to? Honestly, usually I see it happening to the empath leading colors, meaning if you lead with your purple, blue, indigo, or turquoise in your aura, you have a bigger tendency to pick up another energy language, especially when you're younger. I see a lot of, oh my gosh, like double empath colors too. Like I'll just take purple blues, but put any two double empath colors together and you guys are always working with aura colors that are not you. So I'll see it in the workplace a lot where you guys just end up in places where you're like, I don't understand these people, yet I do. I am not like these people, yet man, can I talk to them, And that goes back to chances are if you're aura-lingual, you're speaking the language, the energy language that you know better than your own. And a lot of problems, as you can imagine, may lie in there, which I hope will be cleared up in this episode. So here's the crazy thing. I just recently started using this metaphor to help people understand why they're wearing a color or someone they know is wearing a color that's not theirs. But then I kind of dove a little deeper into it because I myself am bilingual, but I wasn't bilingual until my 20s, okay? Which I don't know. I think there's a big difference if you're born bilingual. You're immediately put into a house where there's two languages or the first language you learn is not the language here, and then you pick up the other one at school. I feel like that's different. For me, was not fluent in Spanish until my 20s. Having said that, I love language. I really like to learn about it, and I'm kind of a nerd for it. That's the other Mystic Michaela. That's the other side of me. But I was like, okay, this is really crazy because I think if we look at it from the scope of bilingualism and what research shows happens to the minds and the social practices of people who are truly bilingual, would it relate to what I'm talking about with being like aura-lingual, being able to speak in different energy colors that aren't yours or interact with them or communicate or understand or empathize? And what I found was it can. And I'm going to talk about 7 unique things that bilingual people do. Like, it's going to be really cool, like code switching, etc., that aura-linguals do too when we come back. We've all been there. I for sure have. You sign up for something, forget about it after the trial period ends, and then you're charged month after month after month. The subscriptions are there, but you're not using them. In fact, I just learned that 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused each month. Thanks to Rocket Money, I can see all my subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones I'm not using anymore, and now I'm saving more money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. See all your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money is going. For ones you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them so easy. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/KYA today. That's rocketmoney.com/KYA, rocketmoney.com/KYA. I wanted to talk about 6 things that bilinguals do that aura-linguals do too. And if you're just joining us, today I'm talking about how people who have their authentic energy colors can also be adept in communicating with and living in contexts that are actually supported for other energy colors instead, just like bilinguals. So you can kind of speak different energy languages, just like you can speak different languages. So a little backstory. I am fascinated with language. It's like my other, it's the other Emma. It's the other Mystic Michaela. I just love learning about how people learn a second language. I think it's really cool. And I myself am fluent in Spanish, and I used to be a Spanish teacher, and but I wasn't fluent until my 20s. And so I think it's a little bit of a different situation than people who were born into a house that spoke multiple languages, or perhaps they were born into a home that spoke one language and then they had to learn a different language in school, for example. But I find it really interesting when people also like they're raised bilingual. I think that's really cool because the research shows that their brains are a bit different, and for the better, you know? So it's fascinating to me to talk about how there's very distinct things that bilingual people do that when I looked into it for the purposes of this podcast, I'm like, oh my gosh, like people who speak different aura languages do the same kinds of things. So let's talk about it. All right. So the first thing is mixed languages. And when you kind of speak different aura colors, you can mix energies a lot too. So what does this mean? So bilingual people often mix languages. You've probably heard something called code switching or code mixing. And that's just when they're using 2 different languages in one conversation. All right. So for example, when I was in school, the Puerto Ricans, I don't know, I'm sure a lot of different people do this, but for me, it was like the Puerto Ricans would crack me up, and they knew they were funny too. Like all the Puerto Ricans I was in school with, because they would just speak Spanish and English so fluently, like at the same time, like just mixed, so hysterically funny. They could just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That I think that if you only spoke Spanish or you only spoke English, you could kind of follow them, like either way. And it just cracked me up. Now they could go full Spanish, they could go full English, but they would code switch a lot when they were speaking to each other or they're speaking in a mixed group or whatnot. And the amount of, my gosh, just intelligence that requires, that just knee-jerk, just operations is mind-boggling. Like that's not really something you can probably teach people. You know what I mean? So like being bilingual, it just amazed me. Because I think when you're bilingual, it just unlocks parts of your brain that you don't get to otherwise. But being aura-lingual, you can do that too. Because usually when you're raised by somebody, you know, from a family situation with different aura colors, you can easily talk to people who aren't like you, energetically speaking, and pick up exactly how they need to hear things, in what way, what they'll find funny, you know, what will get you on their good side, what'll get you on their bad side, how they need to hear things, how they're going to understand it, how to convince them of things. I mean, that's crazy. That's a crazy amount of skill that you're doing subconsciously through energy when you're dealing with people who don't think like you. You're just aura-lingual in their energy color, which I think is kind of Interesting. Okay. Another thing that bilingual people will do is they use language creatively. When you have access to a bunch of different languages, you have access to a bunch of different meanings, metaphors, ways you can put things together. Okay. It's just more tools to build meaning out of. And same thing when you have access to a lot of different energy languages. You have a lot of ability to make meaning out of things, even, more than from just your own perspective. So with bilinguals, they're going to use like languages and metaphors, which allow people to see things in different ways. Hence, a lot, speakers of multiple languages have more lenses through which to view the environment. And therefore, they're more creative. And really, it's the same thing when you speak multiple energy colors. If you're purple, blue, and mom was yellow, or if you're yellow, purple, and dad was green, these are like opportunities and lenses you have to reach different markets, different relationships, different places, different people, and be creative with how you bring that into your own interpretations of the world. Really broadens horizons, being aura-lingual, just like being bilingual. Third thing is usually bilingual people are very good with humor. It's been found. Bilinguals, and this is where me being bilingual, this is where, oh man, it's like you got to live somewhere for a while, I think, to be good with humor. But bilinguals are usually very good with humor. They can distinguish between jokes and non-jokes much better, actually, than monolinguals. And they can relate to one another and new people in this way. They're usually just kind of a little bit, how do I say, like able to reach people differently. They're funny. Apparently, research shows they're funnier. So I think that's interesting. I want to hear the bilingual people in the MMSF let us know if that's true, because I think that'd be cool. But again, when you're kind of aura-lingual, you can also relate to others through energy differences. You can kind of understand other people's humor a little better. I mean, just for me, like understanding like green auras, because my dad's a green, I have the best, I can make a green laugh, I can make you laugh, green. I know the things that bug you. There's nothing better than getting a green to crack a smile. Okay. Like that's like my favorite thing to do. And because I speak green. And so that's just, I thought that was interesting. They're good with humor. Okay. The fourth thing is apparently bilinguals diversify speaking situations. And this is something that aura-linguals do too. They diversify energy situations. What does that mean? All right, let's start with the language thing first. Let's say you know a bunch of languages, right? Let's say, okay, my phone's in Mandarin, but all my books are in Greek, and I keep my TV on Portuguese. I don't know, I'm just throwing out a language there. Usually when people are multilingual, they have sections of their life devoted to a certain language. Isn't that interesting? I know. It's just kind of something that they do. So it's just linguistic diversity, they call it, and it's something that people who are multilingual are used to. All my friends I speak English to, but all the news I read is in Danish or something. Okay, so but it's the same with diversifying your energy. And this is you might notice that maybe you're green blue, okay, but all your friends for some reason are blue purple. And anywhere you work, it's a yellow purple situation. And anybody you've ever dated, now that you're thinking about it, is an indigo. and all the activities you do tend to be green. Okay, well, that's great. Think about it. Think, for example, because my grandma was yellow, both my grandmas were, but my one grandma, I don't know, like I do a lot of activities. My activities, like my little side crafty activities, I'm not really good at it, but I love to embroider or knit or crochet or sew. That is super not purple indigo of me, but you know what? Like my activities tend to be yellow based like that. So just thinking about what areas of my life are different, have I diversified energetically? and see what you come up with, because it might be, oh, that's really cool, and I want to continue with that, or like, actually, I need to stop dating flippin' indigos. Like you might have to like really review what's going on in different segments of your life energetically. All right, fifth thing, apparently bilinguals are better at making friends, and that's just because they're used to speaking up. Usually, and this is more when you're bilingual, they attribute to a lot of reasons. One, like if you're a kid and you had to translate for your family all the time, like you're just used to speaking adults and being an advocate very early on. Or if you're just bilingual, you might have gotten that way because you're incredibly friendly. Like you're like, hi, I'll ask you this question. Where is the store? Get me directions. What's your name? I want to learn about you. You might just be a chatty person, and chatty people, it's easier if you're chatty to be bilingual. If you're an introvert, it can be very hard to be bilingual in a non-natural setting, if that makes sense. Well, so apparently, people who are bilingual have better interpersonal and communication skills, according to research. But honestly, different experiences, different types of energy abilities for making relationships. This is also very common in aura-lingual people. You're just really kind of good at talking. You probably have a confidence that you can deal with a lot of different personality types if you're aura-lingual. And it doesn't freak you out to encounter different types of people. You know that you can relate to like anyone, or especially you can relate to the people that remind you of people that you already know. So let's say your partner is a red aura. Now all of a sudden you kind of recognize red auras. Red auras don't freak you out. You like red auras. You gravitate towards them just because you understand how reds are and you know how reds think. It's just kind of like that. Yeah. The sixth one I love. Apparently bilinguals hesitate before responding. And this is just because so much is going on. They need a minute to just kind of like, hey, wait a second. In what language am I responding to you in? Hang on. But honestly, immediately, I know a lot of you are like, oh, that's me too. Because when you are aura-lingual, you're gauging who is this person's energy and how do I have to respond to them? It can take a second. It can take a moment of processing before you, I don't know, kind of come up with something. So I thought that was interesting. It's like because they have to change gear into a different language, it can result in longer pauses or hesitations, which is totally understandable. But your energy too. So a lot of us, I notice, we are really mad at ourselves sometimes. We're like, I didn't have the right thing to say, or I didn't come up with that quick enough, or I don't know, I was so awkward or whatever. It's like, give yourself some grace, because chances are you were trying to figure out how best to respond to them based on the aura color you were picking up and the language that they need from you in order to understand and connect best. Okay. I need to hear all your aura-lingual stories. Also, just because I care and I think it's really interesting. I love hearing bilingual stories. I think it's just so cool to hear about how bilingualism is very similar to our new word over here at the MMSF of aura-lingualism. If you only thought you spoke one language, no, I bet you speak at least one or two other aura languages. I want to know how your life has been being aura-lingual, multi-aura-lingual in particular. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. All right, let me tell you a quick story. The other day, I was out cutting the branches on the palm trees. It was a little hot out. So
yeah,
I get back. I'm in the bathroom. Take out my Lumi.
Lumi.
All right, normal, right? Use it. Put it on.
Smells so good.
Yeah, good. Whew. All right. I start walking out of the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
And I catch something out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
You had my Lumi. You were putting out my Lumi. What? You were using my Lumi.
I shared your Lumi.
You shared my Lumi. Don't you have? You have your own Lumi.
I have no shame.
Okay. Where was your Lumi?
I just didn't go feel like getting it.
Purple.
I used purple. I just used your Lumi.
Okay.
I realize that might gross people out, but
yeah.
Oh well. Lumi is a whole body deodorant. It's safe to use anywhere on your body. It was created by an OBGYN who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It is the #1 whole body deodorant formula. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor up to 72 hours. You can get the solid deodorant stick, which Scott and I shared the other day, although I do have my own. and they also have a sweat control deodorant too. They also have a spray deodorant. All their products are baking soda free and paraben free. It's pH balanced, so it's very safe to use below the waist. And it has amazing, bright, fresh scents like clean tangerine or lavender sage. Lumi's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, two free products of your choice, like a mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off their starter pack. Use code AURA for 15% off your first purchase at lumideodorant.com. That's code AURA at LUMEDEODORANT.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Lumi. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
Okay, so just sometimes I don't want to speak red. I don't want to speak your flippin' language.
So you mean you
okay, I
don't
want to use my own native language.
You don't
Purple.
You don't.
Okay.
You're saying you don't want to be aura-lingual?
Not sometimes, you know, just like a bilingual person, you get flustered and you just are going to react in your own language is what happens. Like when you're bilingual, sometimes you can't, when you get angry or stressed, like you go to the mother tongue, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's purple for me.
Right.
And this happened recently.
Well, here's the thing. I know when, see, these purple things come. I know they're coming. It's Scotty, you know, kind of like what Bruce said, Scott. And I'm like, and it's usually from downstairs and I'm upstairs and I'm like,
it's just ideas.
Like, first of all, I think like something happened, like there was a bug on the floor or something. I gotta go kill it or whatever.
No, it's more like, hey, Scott.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And then they know here it is. Now, sometimes it's a small one and it can be fixed very quickly.
Yeah.
But, you know, other times it's this large thing that I know is coming.
Yeah.
Probably a process that I do not want to be part of this purple stuff. Okay. So we had one, you know, and these come up quite often, people. It's not like once in a blue moon.
Sorry, I'm making your life less monotonous. But continue.
So the latest one was the passport journey, getting our passports.
All right. Let me just set this up. I don't have my passport. I've never had my passport.
I never had a passport either.
And I'm like this age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here are my reasons for getting a passport. 1, manifesting purposes. The universe can't gift me amazing, cool things if I don't have my passport. Like, you gotta be ready to go. 2, I miss going to Canada. You know, I'm from Buffalo. I used to go to Canada all the time. And I couldn't get into Canada right now. You know, so that makes me sad.
Reasons for not getting a passport. 1, some countries are crazy.
Let's talk about Canada.
Oh, Canada is good. But more is the process of getting a passport is insane. I don't know who came up with this process.
Yeah.
But it's ludicrous.
I mean, it's probably good that they're careful.
They don't need to be so careful.
Well, so anyway, so I'm like, all right, Scott. I'm like, Scott, that was me doing the Scott thing. I'm like, we're getting our passports. And Scott's like, no, you know, like red. And I had it, you know, like I know that there were probably better ways to drop it on you. Okay.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing.
Yeah.
And Bree's behind me. Our red purple is totally behind me.
You talk about me?
You've just about me? You've been dropping bombs on us. Like the kids like, okay, get ready, we're going here. And it's like, or do this or do that, or like, yeah, so you've been purpling them. You've been really purpling them lately.
That's up for discussion. I don't know.
Oh my God. Abby almost had like a panic attack yesterday because her hair wasn't perfect.
Nobody knows what you're talking about.
No, I know.
We're getting there. Okay. So anyway, so I told Scott and we're getting our passports and Scott's like, no, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, well, then me and the kids are getting our passports and you'll be the one without a passport. And then when I go somewhere, bye, you know, like that. And then Scott, that is not the thing to say to a red aura. By the way, everything I just said was very purple, but it is something that just makes red more red. And he got all fumey. And he's like, I'm not doing it. He like doubled down. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, listen, I'm getting my passport and I'm going to get the kids their passport, but it's annoying because I need him to sign off, I think, on the kids getting their passports or something, which is annoying.
I didn't
So
know
I do
that.
need him.
I didn't know that.
I do need
now
him.
I know that. Oh,
I
okay.
think I do. Do
Well,
I? Some yellow will tell me.
Yeah.
I'm going to get like some helpful yellows like, you don't need him. You know?
Well,
and I'm like,
you have me now because I'm knee deep in the process.
And I was like, because the thought of us, I think I was so purple in that moment. You knew, just to purple spite you. I would get on some plane somewhere and just be like, bye, you don't have your passport, like that.
Yeah.
I think you knew. So I think I scared you enough, but you got so angry. And I'm like, listen, and I had to pull out one red thing. I'm like, you cannot deny my constitutional right for a passport.
Is that a
as a sovereign?
Is that in the Constitution?
I don't know. As a sovereign, this is my purple interpretation of how things work. As a sovereign citizen, I am allowed to have my passport.
Yeah. All right. So that kind of worked.
So that kind of worked on you because and I'm like, what kind of husband are you telling me that I
wasn't saying you. I was saying like I don't want to do it.
Well, it's annoying.
But because here's the thing with the purple. Here's the thing with the purple thing.
Uh-huh.
And this goes back to the beginning. It's like when we you have the project.
Yeah.
And if it was like just isolated to your purple.
Yeah.
Be fine.
Well, I was doing everything
but
myself.
It always goes into like me now. Like, okay, now I got to get.
Well, so you got to show up for a passport photo. So
that's a pain in the neck.
So anyway,
and it was a pain in the neck.
And it was. So what happened is I get you on board. You're like, fine, because I think you're scared. We're all gonna go to Turks and Caicos without you or something.
Yeah.
And then
look, you played it well. You did.
I did.
You outplayed me.
We had like a fight.
I know you logically made sense. Like, all right, fine. My only hesitation, like I didn't want to do it.
Right.
Like, I didn't care if you did it. It was just I didn't want to do it. But then when you bring the kids are going to do it, and then you guys are all going to have them. I'm not going to have them, and then you guys are going to want to go, to Niagara Falls one time. And I'm not going to be able to go, and you're going to wave for me across the falls.
Bye.
There he is. Look at him.
Look at him. He couldn't
look at him
come
on
here.
Goat Island. He's on Goat Island.
He's on Goat Island,
which is the American side, and the worst side. The Canadian side is 10 times better than the American side. We love Canada, but so yeah.
Anyways. That's what happened. So fast forward to I've done everything, but now I do need everybody to show up for their passport photo. And it's really hard to get everyone together. And I learned that at the UPS store, which is very close to here, you could get them. Now, the UPS store is funny where we live because you just never know what you're walking into. Side note, wow.
Yeah.
The UPS store has a lot going on.
It was a S show there when we came. And
I called ahead of time.
I know. I made you call.
And I'm like, hey, do you have time for 4 passport photos if we come in right away? They're like, yeah, no problem. And I was like, okay. That didn't sound convincing. Yeah. But it's like 4 p.m. on a Thursday. So it's a school night and the kids are all like stressed from school. And everyone looks like, like school, which is just kind of, as Brie would say, musty. And I'm like, it's time for your out of nowhere, out of thin air.
Everybody lost it.
I'm like, we're all going to get our passport photos. When I say it was like
chaos.
Everyone's like, no, what are you talking about? My hair. Like, just imagine, we're only 4 people. It felt like 10 people were screaming at me.
Yeah.
But we all got in the car.
We did. And off we went to the UPS store.
Yeah.
Into the most chaotic scene I've ever seen.
It is the smallest. It's like the size of a prison cell.
Yes.
With at least 50 people in there.
Packages everywhere.
Everywhere. People just coming in and out, in and out, in and out. And I asked somebody who I didn't know they even could speak until 20 minutes into our interaction there. She did not say one word to me. She just nodded and pointed. Yeah. And I was like, okay, do you understand me? Okay. Here? Okay. And went through the whole thing. Abby's crying because
her hair didn't look good.
Listen, let's just say something about passport photos. At least where we went. They ain't no glamour shots. And when you're dealing with kids who are that age, they care what they look like. They were very upset, especially our little one. Right. But then she was wearing a white shirt.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And now this is where it gets bad.
Maggie steak.
Here's the Maggie steak. And now this is where I am now taking over. And now the red is going to be in the process to finish this out.
Right.
Okay. So now I'm in it. I'm full in it. This is what I was trying to avoid. But you can't because she's purple. So I have to now get involved.
I am who I am.
I know. But this is like, how you're psychic and you're like, what, this is going to go this way or that way. And I'm just like, fine, I believe you.
Right.
Like when you first came to me with the passport thing, I knew at some point I was going to have to get involved. And in the process,
The list of rules
and now
are
I know.
like there is an anti-purple movement in government offices. I'm talking DMV. I'm talking like anything with college. I'm talking passports.
So
There are so many rules, and one of them, I guess, is you can't wear a white shirt in your passport photo.
I mean, it's right there.
It is right there.
Okay, so like when you showed me the website, I'm like, Megan, it's right here.
I can't read that many things.
But anyway, so Abby's got on this white shirt. She already she took the first photo. She had a meltdown because her hair was like to the side or something.
Whatever.
I don't.
We don't know.
We don't even know. The lady comes back and is like, I'm not going to charge you for this one. It's all done.
She spoke.
But I don't think
Right.
I don't think they're going to accept it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Because she has a white shirt on. So they're like, do you want to, like, okay. I'm like,
well, I'm not leaving.
Right.
Like,
we're doing
this again.
not doing this again. You don't understand. Bree had to tell at least 40 people that we are not online.
Oh my God.
And you may go ahead of us.
Yeah. Well, the place was so small.
Yeah. Because Bree kept saying, no, we're not online.
We're not
Go
online.
ahead.
You can go ahead of us.
Yeah. Bree is just dying, because she's like that red purple. And she can't handle it.
Right.
All these characters are coming in with weird boxes and she's just dying over there.
UPS has a lot of characters.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think Abby, who was fine after this, I was just absorbing the moment.
Yeah. Now, let me just tell you something about our turquoise Abby. Abby does, need things to be like kind of perfect in certain ways.
Yeah.
And she gets mortified if she's like embarrassed or something,
yeah.
right?
It's the age.
It's the age too. Yeah. Okay. So the lady behind the counter said you could wear my jacket or shirt, which is very
so
nice. And, for me, I would have said yes. I'm like, sure. If I had a white shirt, I'm like, can I have one? But you could see Abby's face.
Oh, she pulled out the turquoise stare.
Yeah.
At the woman.
You could tell she was like on the verge of tears. Like if she had to put on another woman that she didn't know's shirt, which was very nice of her to offer, she was going to just lose it.
She was just staring at her like, what am I doing in life?
So I ran to the car, and all we had was Bree's press jacket, because she's on the yearbook staff for her high school.
Right.
And it's all, I'm like, crap.
Yeah.
I'm coming back with this. I'm like, oh my God, she's going to be so upset. But then you guys came with a solution that you were going to wear Abby's shirt, and she was going to wear yours. We switched shirts. And then you guys went to the car and just switched the shirts. And then we were able to get the picture.
Like, are these things that big a deal? You know what I mean?
I thought I handled it really well.
I think I got you all there.
Yeah.
First of all, do I read all the rules? No. Am I absolutely terrified for the passport appointment? I am, because you know that there's something so crazy obvious that my purple's gonna miss.
Well, that's what I said. Now I'm taking over the process.
Oh, good. Cool.
And we're gonna do it in steps.
Yeah.
So the next step we're gonna do, and we're gonna wait a little time because yesterday was rough. So we're gonna get the photocopies. So I'm gonna go through the list with you, and we'll get everything photocopied.
For the life of me, I still don't know how many photocopies I need. So my thought was just to make 20 copies of every single thing, but they have to be like single-sided, not double-sided. It's it's so crazy.
I don't know if we need that many, but I'm gonna look at the thing. Right. Then we're gonna go to the library. I think that's safe.
Okay.
And we'll make the photocopies.
All right. So you take over.
And we're only talking about that step. And then after that step, we'll go to the next.
But you know what? My purple is the kick in the butt this family needed to get our passports. We're like old and we don't have our passports, and I'm ready to go to Canada.
Well, that's true. I would have never started this process, but now I'm in it.
You're
now we're gonna have to do it. Now, the other thing I heard, speaking of another thing coming at us the other day, not to go off topic here. We're done with the passport thing. We'll just end it quickly with this. All of a sudden, I go to the door, and there's an Amazon package, which there's like 10 of them every day. And I get one here, and I open it up, and I'm like, what's this?
It's like in Chinese.
It's a sourdough making kit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? What is this?
I'm on my sourdough.
This is the neighbors. This is the neighbors. I'm like, this was meant for the neighbor. But no, here comes the purple again. What's going on with that?
I'm on my sourdough starter journey, Scott.
The sourdough starter journey.
Yeah, I just decided that
you woke up one morning.
I did. I woke up one morning and I'm like, I'm making a sourdough starter. Okay. I haven't gone to I don't know what we're on day 3 of sourdough starter, and it's looking good.
Yeah,
it's looking bubbly.
Yeah.
Her name is Teamy.
Teamy?
Teamy. Teamie.
Okay.
And Abby and I do this together, and we feed Teamy. I'm a little nervous about what I'm going to do with Teamy if we go on vacation or something.
This is what I was told.
I know.
I'm like, because we're going on vacation in June for a while, and I'm like, and she's like, you have to feed this.
I got to feed Teamy.
You got to feed Teamy.
Do you have to keep feeding your sourdough starter after like you use it for 2 weeks? I don't know.
I don't know, but
I gotta ask
you were
people.
telling me that
I'm
we
not
might have
there
to
yet.
drop her off at like a hotel or something.
Yeah, I think my neighbor will just feed her for me with the cats.
Like you told me that we might have to drop her off at a hotel. I don't even know what that means.
They have sourdough starter hotels
Okay.
for
Well,
people who are going away.
See,
and
that's not happening. The passport, fine, but we're not getting
so
a
on my
hotel room for
I
sourdough
just
bread.
decided I was going to be on a sourdough starter journey, and
Yeah.
I'm going to be somebody who makes sourdough
Okay.
bread.
I've always wanted to know someone that made sourdough bread.
There we are.
Could you learn how to cut hair? Because that would be, for me, that would be huge.
Honestly, I'm too scared to try to learn that because you do not want a Maggie mistake on your hair.
Yeah, we know what happened to my eyebrow one time.
Oh, yeah.
When half my eyebrow was missing.
Yeah, Bree told me like I've just been dropping things on people lately. I don't know.
So overall, so all kidding aside.
Yeah.
So do you feel more purple lately than indigo?
I do.
Okay.
I feel like when this could be also described as some sort of manic episode, but I was really indigo for a while. And I decided like, I can't do that because sometimes if you go too in one energy, things get a little dark.
Okay.
And you start to shut out things that you need. So then I'm like, all right, I'll just balance it by going a little too purple.
Okay. Well, I know,
which is going to irritate you all in different ways.
I'm going to tell you that the other day you handed me a tequila sunrise.
Oh, that's my drink of the summer.
Yeah, you made it, and it was like perfection.
Oh, it's so pretty.
I mean, there's nothing more purple than a tequila sunrise.
Yeah, and I have decided the drink, if you come visit, the drink of the summer is tequila sunrise.
All right.
I make them very well, and
okay.
I think that's a purple thing too. I have a drink of the summer. It's March.
I just want to warn the listeners. Every few years, the purple comes out.
Oh.
And I think we're on that's starting.
What does that mean?
Well, meaning like you're indigo for long periods of time.
Yeah.
And then it's just like there's this purple spike.
Yeah.
I feel like you might be in that purple spike right now.
I might be.
Yeah.
I might be. Yeah.
Right. I like the purple spike.
I like to call it discovery.
Okay.
I'm in discovery.
The red works overtime when the purple spike comes out. Look,
We're definitely going to Canada.
Yeah. Right. Well,
if I just step one toe over the border just to be like I did it.
Right. Because that's my other thought is that in my head like I'm like we're gonna do this whole passport journey thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm never leaving the country.
No, you are.
Okay.
I'm manifesting.
I mean, so I think I'll be happy once that happens.
Yeah. Then
when
you're like, cool.
when I actually need it.
I did it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll be happy, and the process is over. I wonder if other people have had this, like, feel this process is as hard as we do. I don't know. I just feel this is a real hard process.
I feel like I'm the person that goes to DMV with her entire file. Like I bring a file cabinet with me because I'm afraid I'm going to forget something.
Yeah. Well, if you're a red blue guy, you're not listening. But if you're a red blue and you are dealing with a purple indigo, let us know if this is kind of similar.
I guess Scott needs support.
A red blue guy support group with no one in it. It'll be nobody in it.
Speaking purple.
I'm going to be the only
red
person.
Blue guys who have to speak purple blue or purple indigo.
I'll be the only person in that. They're not joining.
All right. Well, this podcast is for you and about you, and I'm so glad you spent some time with us today.
Hello, podcast fans. If you're looking for a new podcast, if you enjoy articles, books, pop culture, and hilarity, try listening to the Brain Candy Podcast.
That's right. The Brain Candy Podcast has over 500 episodes of educational hilarity to satiate your learning needs. Just search for the Brain Candy Podcast on your podcast app or click the link in the show notes.